That's the man Sondra London says she's in love with, right?
That's right.
Danny Rolling. How do you define love? What's love?
Love is an emotion that you feel, and when you feel it, you know you feel it. Sort of like obscenity. I know it when I see it.
Okay. You've been married a couple times?
Yes.
The men that you were married to at the time, you felt deep love and compassion for?
Yes.
Is the love that you feel for Rolling the same kind of love that you felt for those guys?
No, it's not.
How's it different?
Well, Danny's a prisoner, and it's sort of like a parent of a handicapped child. You know that child's never going to grow up to be normal, just like your other children, but you have a special love for them.
If you were a betting woman, would you guess that they'll convict him?
I think they might probably well convict him. Even if they don't, he'll be in prison for the rest of his life.
Oh, no, no, no. If he's convicted for these, he's going to the electric chair.
Yes,
no,
that's
no,
the rest of his life.
Yeah, the rest of his life will be relatively short.
Right.
Because you know the good state of Florida is next to Texas, the state in the United States of America that executes more people than any other state. So their track record for executions is way up there.
I'm aware
if
of that.
This guy gets found guilty, he is going to the electric chair.
Yes.
Does he know it?
Yes.
Do you think he's guilty?
You know, when I first heard about the crimes, it was embarrassing for the state of Florida, the extent they went to bring Humphreys in. Turned out not to be Humphreys. So when they charged Danny Rolling, I was convinced that due to the amount of pressure that was on law enforcement, the expense, the high profile, I didn't think they would bring charges against someone if they didn't have a pretty good case.
But you love him anyway.
Yes.
How many times have you met with him?
Once.
You met him once. Boy, he must have had a hell of an impression.
He sure did.
That must have been one memorable meeting.
Oh, yes, it was.
How long was it?
2.5 hours.
And why did he meet with you?
I was summoned to the prison pursuant to some discussions that were going on with the state's attorney's office and Danny.
Now, let's set the record straight. You are, by definition, you are what, a freelance, you consider yourself to be a freelance journalist?
I am.
You have done pieces for The Globe, some of the other supermarket tabloids, Current Affair.
Crime Beat. I have a book coming out.
Okay. So you're in the journalism racket, yet you told me you're one of the most reviled, despised journalists in the state of Florida. Why? Well,
I'm a freelancer. I got this story, and I'm not giving it up. I'm keeping a lot of it to myself, and I think the reporters and the press expected when I announced that I had exclusive access to Danny and had developed a great deal of background material. I think they expected me to give it to them, and I have refused to do that. I'm keeping my findings to myself until the right time.
How soon after this 2.5-hour meeting with Danny Rolling did you discover that you were in love with him, or did you feel that you had this strong attachment to him?
Well, let me give you a little bit longer answer that answers that. He contacted me in June of '92. We corresponded and talked on the phone. By September, October, we began to be friends rather than just working on a project together. By Christmas, we were in love, but we agreed to keep it a secret. And we met on February 5th, and on February 9th, a story hit the papers in Florida claiming that I was deceiving Danny Rolling, that he was in love with me and that I was not in love with him. That prompted me to clarify the matter by saying, yes, indeed, I am in love with him.
Yeah, who asked who to marry?
And that's an odd coincidence, too. He wrote me asking me to marry him, and strangely enough, I had written him the same thing the same day, and our letters crossed in the mail.
The path of true love never runs smooth, Sondra.
That's the truth.
Because James Williams, who's an inmate who lives in Rolling's cell block at Florida State Prison, said Monday, this is...
February 9th, the story I was referring to.
Rolling claims to be in love with London, and she's led him on with her intimately worded letters. Would you say your letters were intimately worded?
They've become a lot more intimately worded now.
Quote, The woman has got him convinced they're in love. Williams said in an interview at the prison, what we're dealing with here is fraud. He knows she's a writer. He's doing all these drawings for her. He said she's playing like they're in love. So basically, the inference being that you're playing this guy like a violin so you can get the exclusive story, write a book and make $1 million and let him go to the electric chair.
Do you want another backstory?
Yeah.
James Williams wanted me to write the story of how his father killed his mother and pursued me relentlessly for 6 months, sending me letter after letter, which I very politely refused instead of bluntly blowing him off.
So you're selective.
He found out that the story I
you're
was
selective
doing,
in the death row inmates that you write about?
have to be. I received
what
thousands of letters.
What barometer did you use in saying, I'll do the story on Danny Rolling, but I won't do the story on Williams?
It was
Nobody
the way he
knows who
presented
Williams
to me.
is. Everybody knows who Danny Rolling
Yeah,
is.
the story of his father and mother is on a current affair and signed edition. It's a pretty good story, but it's the way Danny presented himself to me versus the way, his name is Breeze, he's a biker.
Right.
Breeze attempted to extort me, okay? He slandered me, he libeled me, and the reason that he did it is because he was jealous of Danny Rolling, because he found out the story that I was working on.